I can't make this interesting. God, I think this is going to blow tonight. I'm already ready to be like, wow, we talked about Speed 2. That's what I've never seen it, but I'm ready to talk about it.
You are, because I also have never seen it, and I don't even know how I would talk about it, except to tell you that I have no interest in seeing Speed 2.
Oh man, I wish we had saved that. But
it'll come up again.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I am a little anxious because I'm just like, I haven't talked to someone who's not in the room with headphones on in a very long time. Hey everyone and welcome back to 20th Century Pop, a show I just messed up the opening to. God damn it. No. It's been a while.
I was really thinking, is he going to pull this off? Is he going to remember how to just rip through the opening like he usually does and then have me screw it up? But no, you had a little...
You're welcome.
Yeah. Well, you want to try again?
No, okay. I thought going into it, I was going to acknowledge, because it's been 2 months. So I thought just jump in and acknowledge that 20th Century Pop, the show where we try to understand the present while living in the past. Yeah, that. But I thought, throw a little something, like when we've done before, it's like, it's this episode, and then go into it. And I thought that would happen. Instead, this same old bullshit happened of messing up the beginning. I'm Tim Blevins,
I'm Bob Canning, also, by the way.
And we do a podcast, or we used to. It's been like 2 months.
Feels longer.
We've been talking for an hour before this, so that probably added to the time. Does it feel longer? The last episode to go up was a bloopers episode. Wow. And prior to that, Hootie in the Blowfish.
So wait, are you saying 2 months since our last published episode? That's why it feels longer to me, because it's been longer since we've actually recorded.
Yeah. So, but we're back, and a lot went into that. Originally, we were supposed to be well into our 100 and something episode, but instead we're on episode 99.
Yeah.
I apologize. Not that anyone needs to hear this. I'll just say there's been some moving. There's been some change of location, and tonight for me is the first night of recording in my new home here in Salem, Massachusetts. I'm happy to be here. That really doesn't change anything. But it's been hectic. So to both of you listening, thank you very much for coming back. Sorry about the delay, but Bob and I are talking again in a stream, an internet stream.
I'm in the same old location, so I've just been waiting for you to get settled.
Well, and I'm sorry that it's taken 51 minutes of us talking for that to happen. But yes, so welcome to the 99th episode. Big episode next week. Or in 2 weeks, whenever it goes up, 100th episode. This week, a smaller episode. A little rinky-dink way to get back. But back
loosen
into
our
the
limbs,
show.
So to speak.
Loose limbs?
It's a sports term. You kind of warm up. You loosen your limbs up. You stretch.
It's a term? Loosen the limbs is a term?
Yeah. Well, a phrase.
A saying. It's like a saying?
Yeah.
An analogy? Touchdown. Boy, this is not... But so we're back. We're coming up on the summer, and so what I thought, first of all, nice to talk to you. First of all, Jesus. Third of all, nice to talk to you, Bob.
Good talking to you too, Tim.
Yeah, so many people are agreeing with us right now. Yes, it is good that they're talking to each other on the podcast I'm trying to listen to. Please keep talking to each other about things. No. But yeah, again, the podcast about the 80s and 90s, basically. And today, as we're back now, heading into the summer.
Yeah.
Coming up on, the summer probably has already begun by the time this airs. Mm-hmm. As we warm up our skills. Oh my God.
Yep.
What are we talking about today?
We're talking about summer movies. And we're talking about summer movies from the year 1997.
Yes, big year, I think. 22 years ago.
Yeah.
1997 has some weight for both of us. That's the year we both graduated from Emerson College.
That's right.
Actually, I think we graduated after some of these films came out. Sorry about that snot just then, by the way. I apparently have allergies that I love sharing.
Well, it's the new home.
It is a new home.
Your body needs to get used to the walls and the dust and the air in that new house, new home.
or lack of all three of those. Yes.
Okay.
But yes, you're right. But yes, 1997. That's what we'll talk about. That's what we'll probably edit out. Where were you in life? Like, I'm talking about graduation. Where were you? Like physically, where were you in 1997?
It was a big transition year for me. Last semester of college, and I wasn't in, Emerson, as many of you might know, is in Boston, but that last semester of college in 1997, I was in Los Angeles.
Where many of these films were made.
That's true. So we had a program out there through the school, and I lived out there for the last half of my senior year. Came back to Boston to graduate, went home for, I'm not even sure how long, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, home being upstate New York. And then I moved back to LA for the remainder of 1997.
So you were on the West Coast and you were out there, pursuing a career? Why did you leave the safety of New England to go to the West Coast?
I felt like being in the West Coast is where I was supposed to be to become the thing that I thought I was going to be at that time, which was some form of comedic entertainer, whether I was an actor or a writer, performer, whatever, stand-up. I don't know. I wanted to try it all.
Is that what you went to school for? Something
I went to college.
Is that what brought you from New York to Boston and then ultimately California?
I chose Emerson for a couple of reasons. One, they accepted me, so that helped.
Sounds like they chose you, but okay.
And Stephen Wright went to Emerson College. Dennis Leary went to Emerson College. Anthony Clark, Jay Leno. So there was like this comedic history that spoke to me.
Right, that's a list of comedians and Anthony Clark that you just said.
Yeah. So that spoke to me, and I went there, and I immediately wanted to become part of the comedy troupes that were at Emerson. I wanted to try all the clubs and at school and just be a performer and go to drama classes and do all that and go to writing courses and take comedy writing and all this kind of stuff.
It sounds like you went to college to pursue these things.
Yeah.
When college was done, and I guess you had been there a little bit, I'm just wondering why Los Angeles and what was the expectation of, and this may or may not tie into what we're talking about in terms of movies, but I think it does because, the creative capital, whatever you want to call California. Sure. I had no impulse, no drive, no desire to leave Boston after graduation. We had different pursuits. Yours was performance. Mine was writing. Am I correct on saying that? Yours was a kind of across the board.
Yeah.
Regular Yahoo Serious.
Yeah, right? Totally. I thought I could do it all. I thought I could do both. I was more into performing, I think. And I think the reason... I know that I chose to go to Los Angeles the back half of my senior year because you could have done it the first half. You could have done it other semesters.
That's for classes.
I chose to do it at that point because I figured I'd kind of get used to it through classes and being there for college. And
so your goal was to get
out there.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I think also it helped that the people I was with, folks that Brent, Adam, Jonah, and others.
Names of people who probably aren't listening, but that's fine to say.
Probably not. But they were going to be moving out there at the same time. And so it was an easy transition to go from college with my friends to living in Los Angeles with my friends. And many of us were pursuing sort of the same things, Brent especially, and a few others that moved out a little later. We all formed a comedy troupe out there. And so that just seemed like the natural progression. It's like just kind of taking the next step. And Los Angeles seemed to be the place to do that.
So you were doing a comedy troupe and you went with friends. So you found what you were looking for when you went out there? Like that was what you're looking for, I guess.
I found what would have become, it was the start of what I was looking for. I didn't survive it. I didn't end 1997 in Los Angeles. I didn't find the right job. I ran out of money. And so the whole thing fell apart.
So there's some tragedy to that.
I suppose you could call it tragedy.
Well, you're back out there now. I guess I'm trying to figure out the mindset. So coming out of college, both of us now, at least I can only speak for myself. I don't mean to speak for you, but feeling like I'm an adult and I'm going into the world now. Your option was to go to California to pursue friends and a career, it sounds like. I'm simplifying. I apologize.
That's very simplified, but yeah, basically that was my choice.
Well, then fix it then. What?
I mean, I was like too young and stupid to be thinking career. I just thought everything would keep falling into place.
You're not young and stupid when you are 22. You're talking about that in retrospect. At 22, okay, and you just said everything would fall into place. But did you know what that was?
No.
Okay.
I thought it would be the comedy troupe. I thought we'd be performing. I thought we'd be found. I thought we'd be discovered. That whole starry-eyed dream.
Was that the measurement you used then by the end of the year to decide I got to go back?
No, that was just the bank account.
That was purely financial.
Purely financial. I wasn't.
You came back and we got to be roommates for 3 years because you're bad with money.
Because I went out there without a car. Mm-hmm. Couldn't get a decent job to get a car because I didn't have a car. And so, it just became a money thing. I imagine if I had the car and could have gotten a better job, I would have stayed. Yeah.
So you did want to be there, I guess. This is what I'm trying to find. I did.
I came back, so yeah.
And you're there now, and loving it from nothing you've ever said that makes me think that. Because I didn't, and still don't, but did not want to go to California. I graduated college this summer. We're about to talk about and all of that, and I stepped out of the school thinking this is now who I am, which meant I was subletting an apartment in Alston. It meant I had a lot of good friends surrounding me. It meant I was working in a coffee shop, which was called Starbucks on Newberry Street. And it meant that I was like smoking my effing brains out, just wandering the streets with headphones, going to comic book stores. I was basically doing what I did and perfected in college.
I don't know if that's too different than what I was doing, except I wasn't putting the things in the drawer. You didn't
have a desk?
No, I didn't have the desk. But also I didn't end up doing anything with those things. As much as I talk about, founding a comedy troupe with people, I never performed with them.
That's true, huh?
I never wrote anything that they performed. I had the beginnings of so many little things. I was writing screenplays with other friends. I tossed around this road trip idea with another friend. Just all these little starts of ideas that went nowhere.
But they got you. It's weird. I would say they got you out there. I guess you went out there and did them. You were pursuing starting artistic things.
Yeah.
Like you knew how to do that.
Clearly I didn't. I mean, I guess I knew how to associate myself with people that were also doing it.
All right. That's a better point. Yeah. Okay.
How does this have to do with movies in 1997, Tim?
Is that what we should focus on?
I'm just curious how we're going to segue.
That's a good point. It was a tangent. It was a discussion. It was opening ourselves up.
I know, and that's what we do. That's why I like talking to you on this podcast, Tim, because we end up going on these little tangents that usually make me feel pretty depressed, but also good about feeling depressed, I guess. I don't know.
Well, if you want to get out of the heat of feeling depressed, what better place to go than the local Cineplex in 1997? Air-conditioned, popcorn popping, and Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery on the big screen. That's right. We're talking today about not ourselves. We'll get back to that someday. I don't know.
No, we can get back to it. I don't want to derail where our conversation was going. I
think we derailed the show by going there.
Did we?
I appreciate it. I like it. I didn't want to just force your experience into a segue. That's why I think when you stopped it, maybe that's good, but where we were in 1997 does play into something. I don't know if it plays into the movies that we saw, but it definitely plays into our perceptions of it. And we were at two different places, I guess. And I don't mean to be harping on or overly examining for free, by the way. I don't know what HMO you have, but for free, analyzing your experience for you with my, $2 analysis. But I saw a shit ton of movies this summer and loved it. This might be the summer the most movies I've ever seen. Varied movies, not just going back to see the same movie over and over again.
Interesting, because when I looked at the list of movies to remind myself what came out this summer, I was thinking, wow, I didn't really see too many of these. I didn't see a lot of movies. And it could be because of how I was transitioning from one place to another back and forth, and I just couldn't settle. There's a couple of things here that I clearly did see in the theater, and I remember fully seeing them. But yeah, I didn't see a lot of movies that summer.
Well, let's jump into this, because to me, what's the first one that's on your list? Where does your summer start?
Well, that's the thing. I was curious where your summers start. I generally start. Okay. I think summer starts the end of May.
Oh, okay.
But I think you were kind of calling off some titles from the beginning of May. Do you is May your summer movie month?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think as a kid in school, in high school, Memorial Day was the start of the summer year. But I feel like for what these movies were and for when I saw them, and because it was wrapped up and college is almost done, I look to May 2nd as kind of the start of the summer this year, because that is when Austin Powers' International Man of Mystery with Mike Myers came out. And that comedy, for some reason, because it was the end of our school year, I didn't see it the week it came out, but I saw it in a week or two after. There was something about going to see that. The feeling of the summer was there. The feeling of school's almost out. More so, school's almost over because we were going to graduate was there. And here was this Mike Myers comedy that in a way kind of felt like, what a nice bookend. This was like his comeback. Because I don't know about you, I adored Mike Myers in high school. I adored him with Wayne's World. And when we started college, I think there was this 1-2 punch of So I Married an Axe Murderer and Wayne's World 2 that both kind of came out as we were heading to college. And after that, Mike Myers kind of faded. I feel like he wasn't around. I don't know if he was still on Saturday Night Live. I wasn't seeing things. And when this movie came out, when Austin Powers came out, it was funny, but I went to it without any expectations. And I feel like this is the movie that kind of all of a sudden he was huge again.
Right.
He was kind of this big comedian. People loved his characters. Everybody was quoting him. Maybe this is more when it came out on VHS. I'm not sure, but I know it became big on video. But I remember going to the theater with friends to see this movie and just really laughing at it and feeling like, oh, he's back. So it was kind of like a nice circular feeling. Did you see this in the theater? Did you go see Austin Powers?
I did. In fact, this was when I was still in LA. So I saw this in LA. And it was awesome. I saw it with a good group of friends. So we all had a real good time. It was a big laugh, and it was one of those things. I always get this feeling when I leave a movie that I really enjoy, and this was one of them. I get inspired to kind of do my own thing. I wanted, so this was like a cool, good timing for me because again, I was wanting to. They're still in school, so I knew I was going to be moving back to LA after graduation, and I wanted to be funny, and I wanted to, be as funny as Mike Myers, who I also very much was a big fan of.
So this movie impacted you?
Yeah.
Seeing this in the theater impacted you?
Oh, yeah.
Why didn't you think of it as a summer movie, just because of its placement in May?
Yeah, its placement in May. I picture summer as after graduation. And so that's why we were talking earlier before we started recording about what day we actually graduated, because I was trying to place myself after that date.
Okay.
If this is summer, this is summer. And I love this movie.
Sure. And if not this date, I would almost feel like, then May 9th. May 9th must be the start of the summer for you. Because that's the day, because that was the day The Fifth Element came out.
What, so you think that because that movie came out, that's when summer started?
Well, I think Fifth Element, and here's the thing: the Fifth Element, the Luc Besson movie, The Fifth Element. Yeah. It's kind of become something else over time. It's kind of like it's the Blade Runner of our era.
Okay.
Like I think in a way it's very under the radar, kind of cult movie like Buckaroo Banzai or something.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like anything else of its time. It doesn't feel like anything else of its time. But and this is all in retrospect, because the difference with that versus Blade Runner or Buckaroo Banzai, and the reason I think, this was a summer movie, is that I was aware of this movie when it came out. I was aware of this movie leading up to it. And I feel like it's the first movie that I really experienced where it came out, I watched it flop, because this movie did flop, and then witnessed it becoming this strange cult thing of cinema. Like, people adore this movie. People
I love
embrace it.
I love The Fifth Element.
And you love it?
Yeah. I had it spoiled for me. I hadn't seen it when it came out. I came back into Boston for graduation. I can't remember exactly the date that I came in, but it had been out. and I was staying with people in the dorms, and somebody was kind of disparagingly talking about how it didn't live up to the hype, I guess, or the excitement that they had.
So there was hype for it, though. There was a lot.
I think so. I think there was, and this person in particular had it, and he complained about what the Fifth Element turned out to be. So that was given away for me before
was this person
saw it.
Me?
No, it wasn't you.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't you. So I still went to see it, even having that knowledge, and maybe having that knowledge helped me because I wasn't building it up anymore, and I just was blown away by the visuals, by the action, by the comedy, which I don't think people were expecting comedy. That's something that I remember standing
I'm not sure
out.
everybody received it, but okay.
Do you not see the comedy in The Fifth Element?
I see it. I don't know if it works. Ian Holm doesn't work in this movie.
I think it works for what kind of comedy it's trying to be.
I think what you said about not expecting it kind of helps. That's why I feel like this. Like I think so, if you turn off the sound and kind of ignore the plot. There is nothing like this movie. There still isn't anything like this movie out there. I saw it twice in the theater. I think I liked it a lot, but it doesn't resonate with me the way it resonates to other people. But I do feel like when I look at The Fifth Element, I'm like, okay, this is what it was like to know Blade Runner was coming out or Buckaroo Banzai was coming out. It was the anticipation beforehand because it was Bruce Willis. It was a huge looking spectacle. It was using CGI, computer generated imagery, in a way that hadn't been used before. This was supposed to be a big movie. That's why I look at it as a summer movie. I don't think this movie could be anything else prior to it coming out. And again, maybe it was ahead of its time. Maybe it was out of its time. But yeah, this movie, I'm happy to have lived through how this movie came out because I feel like it was poised to be a big, typical Hollywood blockbuster, and it's become something else. Again, I don't mean to keep saying it, but like Blade Runner, where it's like Blade Runner was released and promoted as this is the Harrison Ford movie, and it did not do well in the theater, but it's a phenomenal classic now. And The Fifth Element might be there too. I do think it was a summer movie, and I think it was a summer movie that I felt flopped when it came out. It kind of came and went.
Yeah.
But I guess when I think summer movies, I think about the big promotional push. I think about the time of year, and I think about the genre. And science fiction was something, that I still feel was a big summer thing. Summer
absolutely.
Movies.
Well, and that's why, as I was looking at the movies that came out, I saw summer of 97 starting on the 23rd of May with The Lost World Jurassic Park.
Which was probably the biggest movie of the summer, I guess, right?
I would imagine it was.
Were you excited for The Lost World Jurassic Park to come out? Like, did you see it opening weekend?
I don't remember if I saw it opening weekend. I probably did. I know I saw it in the theater. And I feel like I was excited. But I don't know. It doesn't stick with me. I've only seen it the one time.
I've only seen it once as well.
Yeah. All I remember, I believe this is the one with the neat glass breaking scene in the Winnebago science truck that Julianne Moore is like on the glass and it just slowly starts breaking, and if it breaks, she's gonna fall to her death.
I have no idea because this movie did not stay with me, and it's weird that it didn't. Like I did not even like it when it came out.
Yeah.
Like normally I see a movie and I like it at first, but I was bored by it. And to this day I'm confused by it. I'm confused by all but the first Jurassic Park movies because it's like I'm confused by my reaction to them. Because it's dinosaurs, which I love. It's Steven Spielberg, which I love. It's Jeff Goldblum, who I used to love, but
you don't love him again? You're not back to loving Jeff Goldblum?
I liked him in Ragnarok, but I'm just saying, like, okay, sure. I should be back into these movies, and I'm not. I haven't seen the Jurassic Worlds. I've always felt hollow to me.
Yeah.
And I don't hear people talk about this one. The first one people still see. The third one I hear people talk about. I don't hear people talking about what I think might have been one of the biggest movies of the summer, The Lost World Jurassic Park. It's a misfire. It's a misstep. But I see what you're saying. This is the start of the summer to you. And I get that. I understand that. That makes sense because this is what a summer blockbuster used to be and when it would have been released.
Exactly.
Memorial Day weekend.
And it's a Spielberg movie.
And it's not very good.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know if it's exciting. It's interesting because of who's in it. Vince Vaughn was from swingers
But
at
see,
that point.
I even at that time, and I'm not this film aficionado that thinks of these things that
Let's
easily.
not discredit the podcast. Bob knows a lot about movies.
But there is, even at this time, the actors that were cast in it, I felt like were all just, hey, they're kind of popular now. Let's put them in there. He was just recently in something good. Let's put them in there.
But I don't think he was. We knew him because we were in college, and you saw Swingers. So what else was he in at that point?
Nothing.
Clay
else.
Pigeons.
Yeah.
So I don't think I think it was a risk to put him in there. That's why I think it's weird. I think it's the biggest movie he's ever been in too. Unless one counts Clay Pigeons.
I think Wedding Crashes is probably his biggest.
Bigger than the Lost World, Jurassic Park.
Maybe with inflation. I don't know.
So with inflation, yes, Clay Pigeons.
Yeah.
But without inflation, but I don't know. I felt like that choice, Julianne Moore, who I don't think Boogie Nights was out yet, so I didn't know who she was yet. She's in this one.
Yeah.
This is the one she's in. Okay. Yeah. Who else?
Pete Postlethwaite.
Is he in
and that
Babe Pig in the City?
Yeah. No. Maybe.
No.
Maybe. And then that other guy from Fargo, the killer from Fargo, was in it.
William H. Macy?
No. The one that was like kind of foreign accent in Fargo, that chops the guy up, and Steve Buscemi's buddy.
Oh, yeah, I don't know, but okay. So they're in this movie.
Yeah, but I saw him in this movie, and I think this guy's in this movie because he was in Fargo last year. Like it was weird. Like we're saying, the casting of it was just weird to me.
Now, is that the kind of observation you would have made 2 years prior, in 1995?
Probably not. No.
So there is something to this summer, unless it's the one prior, where we have a bit of an education. We're a little savvy about movie going.
Yeah.
Like, to me, 96 is a summer where I realized, movies can be bad. Because I remember going to, and we'll talk about it someday on the show, but I remember going to Independence Day, being all psyched to see the movie Independence Day, and then hating Independence Day, banging my head physically against the wall during Independence Day. And for the first time in my life, I think, despising other people for liking it in the theater.
Wow.
Yeah, I hated
as it was
movie.
all happening.
As it was happening,
Wow.
as I flashed back to the people who talked about it before I went in there, because I didn't see it opening day, I saw it the following week. So that was when I started learning, wait, movies aren't always great. And this summer, I think 1997, as we go down this list, I saw a lot of films, and I think a lot of films didn't hit me with just the loose kind of, it's exciting, you're in out of the heat, enjoy this dumb action adventure movie. I think something was happening to kind of put me off of that.
Well, there's a dumb action adventure movie coming up.
Are you talking about Gone Fishin' on May 30th? No. You know that somebody died, a stunt woman died during the making of Gone Fishin'?
No way.
A boat landed on her.
Ah, Jesus.
I never saw it, but when I was looking these up on Wikipedia, that's the trivia.
I've never seen it either, but I can only imagine that it's this comedic bit where Joe Pesci loses control of the speedboat, and Danny Glover's trying to get the control back, and
they crush a stunt woman. That is exactly the
stunt
scene.
woman. That's exactly what I'm picturing.
Yeah.
Damn.
I don't. Yeah, honestly, and I didn't see the movie, but even that, I remember seeing the poster and thinking, "Oh, actors are fallible. Crap exists." This might have been the educational curve of that, because what's the movie you're talking about? What's the big dumb action movie you're about to go to?
I was gonna say Con Air.
Yes, June 6th, Con Air.
Yeah.
Not directed by Michael Bay, like I always attributed it to.
I thought so as well.
Simon West, who I know has directed other things, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts on Con Air? People love Con Air, the prison flight movie, basically.
I have in the past, and I haven't seen it recently, but I enjoyed the dumb action of Con Air. And this probably is because of how I saw it.
Did we see this one together?
No, because I saw this one in Los Angeles.
Okay.
I must have gone back after graduation, and I'm pretty sure we saw it opening night. And we saw it at the Cinerama-dome, which is a fabled movie theater here. I don't know if you've ever seen a movie at the Cinerama-dome while you were out here.
Unless it's where I saw Rockstar, which was the movie I saw when I was in California.
I don't know if you would have seen
2001.
it there. I don't think Rockstar would have been at the Cinerama-dome.
Okay.
But I saw Con Air at the Cinerama-dome with a bunch of other people that were there for a dumb action movie.
Were they there for a dumb action movie, or were they there for an action movie? Well, those are two different things.
That's a good point. They were probably there for an action movie.
I don't know. I'm asking, like, because was this considered dumb at the time? Because this was, like, I don't know if it peak Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, I don't know if it was at the time. You're absolutely right. But the crowd was just very into it. I didn't know LA crowds were like this, but this is where I would experience people shouting things at the screen. Usually what's good about LA audiences, or at least the ones that I saw during, 97 and then early 2000s when I first moved out here, people would shout stuff out at good, appropriate times. Never during the main part of the movie, but you'll get some stuff at the opening credits. You'll definitely get stuff during the trailers ahead of the movie. But everybody pretty much shut up and watched the movie with some cheers and clapping and whatnot.
I don't mind that. Clapping is kind of neat. Yeah. I like that experience.
And so this was one of those experiences where everyone was just amped up for the action. And I can't remember everything that happened, but there was a lot of shouting during the trailers. And I remember something about when Ving Rhames showed up or his name came up on screen. There was a big Ving Rhames fan contingent that said something, and it was just a lot of laughs and fun. And it was just Cineramadome. The screen's huge and curved, and it was just a lot of fun. And so I've seen Con Air multiple times since. I enjoyed it. I haven't seen it in 10 years, maybe. So I'm not sure what I would think of it now, but I certainly enjoyed watching Con Air in the theater.
Because I saw it in the theater, too, and I get what you're saying. This is a big audience thrill ride. It's the kind of thrill ride I don't like. Like, this is everything I don't like in movies. It was similar to Armageddon, which actually comes out the next year.
Yeah.
And a little bit like The Rock.
We should tell our Armageddon story next summer when we do the 98 movies.
Yes, or on our special triple-length 101st episode of Armageddon and our story. But no, this movie, this is like a brash bro guy, pro-military, gun-wielding, misogynistic film.
Right.
Of supermen, super cool dudes,
super
actors
evil.
who are...
They were all evil, too.
Well, yes, they are.
The majority.
And they're all just actors saying lines. No one's imbuing any with characters. And I feel like people love that. And there is an audience and a place and time for this kind of movie. Maybe it still happens. Like, maybe I don't watch the Fast and the Furious movies. Maybe this is what they're like. But I'm not that person now. And I wasn't that person then. And I think just a year prior, I saw The Rock, and I think I enjoyed The Rock. And I don't mean to just lump movies together, but there was something very familiar feeling about both of these movies.
Sure, Nicolas Cage.
I did not like they both have Nicolas Cage. Orange.
I just think of the color orange with both of those movies.
Those are two things: citrus and the star of The Wicker Man. But I just, I did not enjoy my experience in this theater when I saw this. Yeah. I remember that. I didn't like that people were cheering. I didn't care for the story.
Did you go alone? Was this one of your just going to the movies?
No, I went with some friends for some reason. That's the thing. Like, I went with friends who I'm like, they wanted to see this. I guess I wanted to see it too because I thought I liked action movies. And I do like action movies. And I'm sure that this movie's well made, but I mean, the first Speed was well made, and that's not my thing either. I didn't care for the first Speed. I didn't care for this. But this one I really felt. By the way, that was my Twickie impression from Buck Rogers there a moment ago.
Okay.
A bit. No, this movie, I've never gone back to it. I guess I've seen clips of it on TV. Yeah. And I made the mistake of thinking it was Michael Bay directed. I don't like the experience of this kind of movie.
Sure.
Maybe, I don't know if it's more I don't like the movie or I don't like the experience of it, but I did not like being in an audience of people, and maybe this is prudish, I don't know, just because it's imaginary, it's a film, but yelling and screaming and cheering for all the horrible things these horrible people say.
Yeah. This is like your theatrical version of sports fans, maybe.
Maybe, but then, and while I want to agree with that, that's not fair of me. Because again, it's a well-made movie. It's exciting, right? Is John Cusack in this one?
Yeah, John Cusack's in this one.
Is Billy Bob Thornton in this one?
No, I don't think he's in this one. No.
That's Armageddon.
Yeah, that's Armageddon. Okay. This has Steve Buscemi, John Malkovich, Cole Meany is the John Cusack.
Really?
Yeah, Cole Meany and John Cusack are the detectives or the FBI or whoever.
O'Brien from Star Trek is in this?
Yeah.
Is he in Babe 2, Pig in the City?
I don't know. I haven't seen that one.
It'd be funny if he ran like a bacon cart or something in that movie, and there's a scene. That'd be great. But no, this was a big cast, and this I feel like this was a period of time. This was like respectable indie actors. We were saying this with Jurassic Park, and you were saying they were big names. I feel like this is the kind of thing like this is a cast of indie film actors, or at the time indie film actors.
Right? Yeah, that's true.
Getting their big screen action movie. John Malkovich, Steve Buscemi, Ving Rhames, all the people you just mentioned. Even John Cusack, I think he was like this indie star. So this is a trend, right? You can see this in superhero movies now, but I don't think it was happening before. I think there was a period of not this many respectable actors rallying to be in an awful action film.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll ever go back to see it? Like, are you interested in seeing it again? I am not.
No, Con Air is not something I need to seek out and watch. If it happened to be on, I might, but I don't watch television or movies that way anymore anyway. I'm streaming, so I'm choosing what I want to see, and I wouldn't choose to see Con Air until you tell me we have to do it for an episode of the podcast.
I don't know if I could. I mean, it might be interesting.
Con Air, the Rock double feature.
Which one is the worst Michael Bay movie? Well, the one he directed, probably. To stay in this theme of action movies, the following week from Con Air, June 13th, a pretty big sequel came out.
Yeah.
Did you Speed 2 Cruise Control. Cruise Control is the name of Speed 2. Did you like the first Speed? Were you a fan?
I was a big fan of the first Speed, yes.
How does that work? Because
How do you become a fan of the movie?
Well, that's
Speed?
why people loved it. That movie was huge, and I don't get why. I did not. It's fine.
It's one of those, action movies that is intense. It's over the top. It doesn't make any sense, but it also has you, right along there watching that speedometer and making sure they don't drop below 50. You're just involved, and it had the concept, the whole Die Hard on a bus thing happening. So yeah, I was there. I enjoyed Speed a lot.
Have you ever seen Speed 2?
I have never once seen any portion of Speed 2 Cruise Control.
Speed 2 Cruise Control.
I had no interest. The moment you tell me that it is the sequel to the movie Speed, where the title is Speed, and you're going to now be on a cruise ship, which is in a vast ocean, I'm just not interested. Like,
if Keanu Reeves had returned, would you have been interested?
Nope. Just the whole concept of the movie is what pushed me away.
Huh. But prior to seeing the first Speed, did someone saying it's a movie on a bus was exciting?
If they had added that it can't drop below 50, absolutely.
Well, what's the thing with the boat in this? What's the issue with the boat?
It can't drop below.
It's on cruise
50
control.
nautical miles. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Can't go 4 knots.
I don't know.
Can't go down knots.
I honestly do not know.
Okay.
I have vague recollections of them trying to turn the boat before it runs into a dock, and it does run into the dock. I don't know. That's from the trailer.
I kind of remember this being the first bomb of the summer.
Oh, sure.
I mean, I guess Fifth Element did, but this was the one where everyone, because it was also Sandra Bullock was a rising star. She was in it. And I don't know. I wonder, it's weird. It's not weird to me, but it's a mistake, I think, to make a sequel to a film where you're eliminating a key element, which was Keanu Reeves.
Sure.
And that's not putting Sandra Bullock down, but their romance, I guess, if that's what it was. Like, do you think this movie would have done better if it had been called something else? Would it have lowered, with lower expectations if it wasn't a Speed movie, but if it was just called Cruise Control?
Yeah, I think it would have done better just relative to the Speed franchise, for sure. Whether it would have done any better financially, I don't know, but it would be seen as having done better.
Because I didn't see it. I've never seen it, but I do remember thinking, you can't just make sequels to anything. It was probably the first time I thought that.
Yeah.
And I saw A Problem Child too. But this was a sequel that did not work.
No.
What's the next movie on your list? I'm wondering if it's what I've got here.
I'm going to guess it's Batman and Robin.
Right.
Speaking
the following
of sequels.
Week, June 20th. That was a big one.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the one that maybe 1997 is remembered. Well, Titanic, but this film, it didn't do well in the theaters. It didn't do as well as its predecessors anyways.
Yeah.
It's the movie that a lot of people say kind of killed superhero movies for a bit.
Sure.
Which I don't know. Sure, I don't agree with that just because, I mean, how many superhero movies were there? You know, I think it killed the Batman franchise. But I don't know. Did you like Batman and Robin? Do you like Batman and Robin?
No.
Have you seen Batman and Robin?
I did. I saw it in the theater when it came out that one time and have very little recollection of it beyond that.
Really?
Yeah.
You've never gone back to it?
I've never gone back to the Batman and Robin or the, what was the Val Kilmer one?
Batman Forever.
Yeah.
Which did very well. People like that one. Were you excited for Batman and Robin before it came out? Like, were you following the Batman
No,
movies?
I don't think I really was.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Batman Forever came out before this one, right?
Yes, 2 years before this one.
I wasn't blown away by that one either. I didn't care for that one. And, I just sort of lost it. Because Batman, the first one, I think we've talked about before, that was like the first movie I went to at a midnight screening and had a Batman t-shirt and was lined up with a whole bunch of other people, in Batman paraphernalia. So I was very excited about it. Maybe it's the casting change that occurred and the stylistic change that occurred, but yeah, I didn't follow him.
Yeah, I mean, I like the 90s Batman movies, and Batman and Robin, I find it to be a fascinating film.
Okay.
To be honest. I did an episode on it on the podcast a couple years back. I'll link that in the show notes talking about it. I mean, this movie was an experience for me seeing it in the theater. I saw it opening night. I remember I actually got my shift off from work so I could see it opening night. I saw it, an early showing in the early evening. It was a packed theater, and I saw basically an entire packed house audience silently and politely grasp how bad this movie was. Like, there wasn't any shouting at the screen. There wasn't any eye rolling. The theater was silent. The reaction was silent. And this is a loud movie. And when there's no audience reaction, it's just a collective sigh of a movie.
Wow.
And so at that time, sitting there, this was a bad movie. Like, this was a bad Batman movie. But, I don't know if the passage of time can really change things. If something can evolve into art, after it's been made. But I feel like 21 years after this movie has come out, I like this movie.
Yeah.
And I know it's a bad Batman movie. It is. But this is what a comic book looked like, at least to a kid who read them in the 80s. This was loud. This was brash. This was over the top with colorful costumes. I mean, this is a kid's comic book from the 80s come to life.
Are you saying, though, that it shouldn't have been Batman? Like, if this movie had been made with the same art direction, but it was a different character, it might be seen as a better movie?
Maybe. I mean, this would be a great Tick movie. I've said before, if you replaced it with Tick. But, and at the time I would have said that. But I don't know. Part of me likes what happened with Batman because, honestly, the audience that this movie was for, people in their 20s and up, it wasn't what they wanted from Batman. It wasn't what they thought of Batman. I mean, I don't think Batman Forever is necessarily that, but people did. People didn't want a goofy Batman. But this was Batman to children. I mean, this was the Batman I had on Underoos as a child. This was the Batman who was on Super Friends. This was the pop, ridiculous Batman, which honestly, so was the 60s TV show, and people praise that. They're both pop art quality things.
Yeah.
That 60s Batman show, People love that.
Right.
And it's wonderfully bad as well.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that show they see as a separate thing. They know that it's not the comic book, just as they know that it's not what inspired the Tim Burton Batman. It's not Frank Miller.
But the Tim Burton movies aren't the comic book either. I don't know. I think this is similar to The Fifth Element. I think this was witnessing at an age something being this, in the sense that the Batman TV show from the 60s existed before we were born. So you grew up watching it. So whatever your opinions were, it was something that had always existed as a thing of Batman. But moving forward, I've got the Batman of now.
Yeah.
Batman and Robin is that to a whole generation now, but it wasn't to my generation because we went and saw it. We saw it in the theater. We lived it. And at that point, as an audience, we didn't want that Batman. So this seemed like an odd film. This seems like a bad film, but we're able to somehow separate it from and I know it and the TV show are very different and different things are going on, but I don't know. I do go back to this movie. It took me a while. I thought it was awful when it came out, and I spent a while thinking it was awful, but I don't think it's the worst comic book movie ever made. I don't even think it's necessarily the worst portrayal of Batman. It might be. It's got some horrible performances in it, but it's so spectacularly off. The way that Xanadu or The Apple or Megaforce are my go-to movies that are bizarrely, wonderfully cheesy movies. This is one that just happens to have the biggest superhero of the 20th century in it.
Looking at this list, as we said, I have it on Wikipedia here. It's listed as an action comedy. And I don't know that the other, certainly the Tim Burton Batmans, I don't think would be considered comedies. I don't know if Batman Forever it might have been considered a comedy because it had Jim Carrey, right? I know.
But it's interesting that they're pegging it that way. Because I think at the time it would not have, it would have been action.
Yeah, I wouldn't think comedy would have been in there. I'm actually going to scroll up and see if they put comedy next to The Fifth Element. Nope.
Do they put it next to Addicted to Love with Matthew Broderick and Meg Ryan?
No.
But I don't know.
They did. Shit, you're right.
Well, I saw it. It is. I don't know. The experience of seeing Batman and Robin that summer was interesting to me because it did feel like something was hitting a peak. And I was like, maybe not everything gets a movie.
Yeah.
I like it now. But again, there was an eye-opening of, once again, things can be, I want to say bad, but it's like things can be off of my perception. My expectations or my needs for a movie, it's possible that they're not met. And this was just a summer of those examples. The day Batman and Robin came out, another movie came out, which actually I kind of liked at the time.
Did you see it at the time?
My Best Friend's Wedding?
Yeah.
I think so. I have a memory of seeing it in the theater, so I must have seen it at the time.
It was not the kind of movie I wanted to see at that time, so I did not see it in the theater.
I was seeing so many movies, and I had different friends who I'd see things with. So I had this one friend that she liked romantic comedies. I liked romantic comedies. So we went to see it. And it's another one of those kind of comeback movies, similar to Mike Myers with Austin Powers. This one, I felt like it was Julia Roberts was back.
Right.
I don't know how long she was off.
About 8 months.
8 months. But it did seem like a big deal. And this movie did very well. People liked this movie.
Yeah.
People went to this movie. And I haven't seen it since. At the time, it was very 90s progressive with Rupert Everett's character and everything. I don't know if it really plays that way. It definitely let Middle America feel like it was progressive.
Sure.
I also might be confusing it a little bit with the Madonna and Rupert Everett movie, which I'm forgetting the title of right now.
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
But no, I did see this. I did enjoy it. And that's the thing. Like, this was a romantic comedy. I also saw Addicted to Love. I don't see romantic comedies on the big screen anymore. Like, I used to enjoy going to see them, but I don't. I don't go see
I don't think I've
those kind of films on the big
I
screen.
think the last one I might have seen was American Sweethearts. Do you remember that one?
With John Cusack?
Yeah. Catherine Zeta and Julia Roberts.
Oh. Yeah, I don't see a lot of Julia Roberts films, I guess, because I don't eat, pray, love. Have you ever seen My Best Friend's Wedding? Is it something
you know what? I've never seen it, sit down and watch it from beginning to end. I've seen parts here and there over the years.
All right. Well, probably not a lot to talk about.
Yeah, no. But it has to be mentioned because it was a big movie. It was a big movie.
It's a huge movie. Another huge movie, which came out the following week, June 27th. Is that on your list, perchance?
Face Off?
Yes.
Yeah, that's there.
What do you think about Face Off? Another Nicolas Cage film.
Yeah, I mean,
summer.
it was, for me, that was what was drawing me to the movies that summer, I guess. Big action movies. Again, I was in LA still. And so it was those audiences just really brought the movie to another level. And it was just, I didn't know John Woo at the time, but a lot of people in LA and even in my circle of friends knew him as a pretty good director, famous director.
I knew him because everybody had the hard-boiled poster in their dorm room.
Yeah.
So I knew, he's a director people
I guess
like.
I didn't even notice that at the time. But yeah, I enjoyed the movie for its just outlandishness.
Sure. This movie is bonkers.
Yeah.
Like, full out ridiculous.
So...
And it's an odd movie, or it's a relic of a movie. Because this is like when Nicolas Cage and John Travolta, did you say the other actor?
I did not, but he was also.
Okay, yeah. So they're the two leads, and they were at their peak at this moment. And just as many people went to see John Travolta as they did to see Nicolas Cage. They were loved, they were adored, and that did not last. But I remember at the time thinking, like, this is a masterclass in acting. Because the plot of the movie is they swap faces through technology that doesn't make sense.
Right.
And so you have Nicolas Cage as a villain, John Travolta as a hero. They swap faces. So now you have someone who looks like Nicolas Cage, who is John Travolta pretending to be Nicolas Cage, and vice versa the other way around.
Yeah.
And supposedly it's a great performance. And I think I liked it at the time. I've never gone back to this movie.
Yeah, I don't go back to it. I went back to it a few times, but it's, again, if I'm in the mood for action, I go to something else for sure. But if I've been in the mood for acting...
Yes, you would go see Face Off. Why were they so big? What was the big
Those two
appeal?
actors?
Yeah, they're not bad actors. John Travolta does some good work. I enjoy him in Pulp Fiction. I'm sure there's others. I actually like him in The First Look Who's Talking and things like that.
Yeah.
But Nicolas Cage, I don't think I've ever enjoyed Nicolas Cage the way people seem to.
Sure. I'm trying to remember if Leaving Las Vegas was before these action movies for Nicolas Cage.
I want to say it was before because I think I was in college when he got his Oscar.
Okay.
It might have been that spring before the movie.
Yeah.
Before these two movies came out.
So I think that was pushing a lot of things. He was a well-known actor who just won his Oscar and made some, a decent movie, respected movie, and was now making some fun movies. And John Travolta had his comeback with Pulp Fiction, and so people were rooting for him and going to see his movies that soon came out after that. And so, yeah, I think it just was like the right movie, the right tone of movies for these actors.
Were you caught up in Nicolas Cage fever or fever?
I don't know if I was caught up in Nicolas Cage fever, but I was definitely caught up in these movies at that time, these action movies, big screen, loud, LA audiences, action movies.
Yeah. So the audiences were a big part of it.
They were at the time.
Yeah.
And also, maybe not these movies so much, but this year was when the Star Wars special editions came out earlier in the year. And so I got into the habit of being in line for these movies.
So you waited to get into Face Off.
Yeah. I don't know if I got in line for Face Off, but I just got into the LA theater culture when I was out here. Because some of the college friends that I was hanging out with were from LA. And so they knew the theaters to go to. They knew which ones had the best screens and decent audiences. So I kind of got caught up in that. And a movie like Face Off is made for that.
Solely for that.
Solely for that.
What was maybe the next big movie of the summer that you had?
Well, it's just, I think, the following week, July 2nd, Men in Black.
Do you like Men in Black? Is it?
Yeah, I enjoyed it at the time. But yeah, no, it's not something I've gone back to. I don't remember seeing the sequel, and I have no interest in the reboot that's happening right now.
Yeah, there's been a couple sequels.
Yeah.
There's two sequels and well, this new one I guess is also considered a sequel, not a reboot. Because some of the same characters are in it. But yeah, it's similar to Ghostbusters. I feel like it didn't need anything else other than that first one. But it was a big movie. This was the summer after Independence Day, so I guess Will Smith was already pretty big at this point.
Yeah. What was next summer? Wild Wild West?
That was 2 summers from this. So there must be something in the middle there. I don't know what it was.
Bad Boys.
Bad Boys was before.
Oh my God, Will Smith.
Yeah, maybe Bad Boys 2? I don't know. I'm not sure. But the week after Men in Black, or shortly after Men in Black, on July 11th, Contact came out. Do you know the Robert Zemeckis movie Contact with Jodie Foster?
I do. This is the film version of 3-2-1 Contact, right? The Bloodhound Gang?
I wish.
No?
I wish
That's not
it was.
this one?
No, this is the big self-important bore of a film that I had to sit through.
I saw it years later on DVD.
I saw it at the theater.
I did not go to the theater. In fact, the rest of July is pretty dead to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because there's one in July I want to ask you about because I've never seen it.
But this one.
Did you like it when you saw it? Contact?
No, I
this
didn't.
one?
I didn't really like it when I finally did see it. Well, I would think that you'd be excited for this one with aliens.
I would think I
and
would
Robert
have.
Zemeckis.
Right? I mean, this one had aspirations to be Close Encounters.
Yeah.
This one wanted to be 2001. And it kind of hits some of those notes. But I hated this movie when I saw it. I hated Matthew McConaughey's surfer priest. I hated what it was. I think I hated the hard science of it.
Sure.
And I hated what the entity being contacted ultimately was revealed as. This, to 21-year-old me, who was really expecting something from this movie, I tried really hard to like this movie. And because everyone was praising this movie and saying it's smart, it's intellectual, it's whatever, it's a sci-fi, I railed against it. Like, I didn't like it anyways, but I think I rebelled against those statements by hating this film.
I can see that.
It's probably well made, but I could not stand Contact. I've never gone back.
I was going to say, because maybe if you go back to it now that your expectations are moot here, you could just watch it as a film.
My life expectations are moot. You're right. I don't know. I don't even know if there's a need to, because this movie isn't talked about. This didn't take its place alongside Close Encounters in 2001.
Have you seen,
but it was big that summer.
It makes me think of a more recent movie. Have you seen Arrival?
I have not.
Oh, see, I love Arrival. You should see Arrival. Make up for Contact.
The Arrival with Charlie Sheen, or The Arrival 2 with Charlie Sheen?
I think it's just Arrival with
you're right.
Charlie Sheen.
Yes, it's a 21st century film, though, so we can't discuss it here.
I know. I'm just saying.
Rules! Something we can discuss, and I never saw it. I was curious if you did. On July 25th, a Harrison Ford film hit the theater.
You've never seen Air Force One?
I have never seen Air Force One.
You've never seen Die Hard on Air Force One?
Is that what Air Force One is?
Yeah.
Yeah, then I've never seen Die Hard on Air Force One. Do you like this movie?
I do.
I keep asking.
Like Air Force One, and I did see.
It's like a first date. Oh, do you like this movie? Oh, I saw that movie. Yeah, no, I drink out of cups.
Yeah.
What kind of cups?
I've seen
Die
Air
Hard
Force,
in a cup.
Die Hard in a cup. Air Force One, I saw in the theater. Again, it was an action movie in LA theaters, so it was just a good time, a good experience. I've gone back to it a few times since. It's over the top. It's ridiculous, but it's Harrison Ford. It's Wolfgang Peterson. It's a lot of fun.
And it opened opposite Good Burger, which I've also never seen.
I've never seen Good Burger, and I've only just this past weekend seen my first episode of All That from the 90s.
I did enjoy All That. I feel like maybe the generation bracket below us loves Good Burger.
Yeah.
But I missed out a lot of Harrison Ford had that weird mid-90s action thing where he was probably 50 and he was doing like the Tom Clancy movies and stuff like that. I guess I saw a couple of them. But yeah, I've never seen it. And I guess I have no need to see it because everybody really likes to do that quote of asking people to get off their plane. And quite frankly, everyone likes doing that. So I don't need to see the film.
No,
I'll just talk to people.
You're all set.
Yeah. Well, that brings us into August.
Ooh, it's so hot.
The end of the month. Maybe we should just hit our highlights here. What do you've got for August? 'Cause I have a couple, but I think I'll just focus on maybe 3 of them.
Again, this is like a very I saw one movie in July and I saw one of the movies from August, and you're not even going to guess which one it was.
From August?
Yeah.
Was it The Full Monty?
Oh, you know what? No, there were 2. No, I did not.
Was it Copland?
I did not see. It was Copland. It was.
You saw the Sylvester Stallone film Copland? Another comeback for the summer of 97?
I did.
Why?
Again, because it was a bunch of theater movie files, cinema files here in LA. We're going to go and see it because of the cast, because of the comeback. And I saw it. I enjoyed it. It was fine. You know, I haven't really gone back to it. But I also saw Mimic. I saw Mimic.
You did. That's on this list here. People seem to like it.
At a preview screening, which was one of the
Did that make it more enjoyable?
It actually didn't. Because I had to fill out a thing afterwards, and I was like, this movie, I didn't like it. So
it mimicked a bad experience.
Yeah. But those were the only 2 movies I saw in the theater. And in fact, those are the only 2 movies from August that I've seen. I haven't seen any of the other ones. I haven't seen The Full Monty.
Because I was going to mention that one. That was a big deal.
Yeah.
That movie, I feel like. And I something like The Full Monty, and I think other movies are kind of like this too, it kind of shows how we've adapted to streaming, just because I feel like there used to be, I'm thinking of The Commitments here too.
Right.
There used to be a lot more of like the quirky, I'm sorry about that word, little indie film.
Muriel's Wedding.
Yeah, Muriel's Wedding, that kind of, oftentimes an import like Muriel's Wedding, from another country, that kind of plays as the antidote to like blockbusters that everyone's going to see. And it stays in the art house like for months. And all of a sudden through word of mouth, everybody's seeing it, everybody's talking about it. And those movies, I think, go to Netflix and stuff now. But does that happen to, like, last summer people saw The Big Sick. I feel like that was one that people were going to see. But does this happen still? Does the art house film still exist?
I don't see it. I don't see it still existing. It might still be there.
But I think it's there. I don't think people share these movies anymore. Part of the charm of movies like The Full Monty and The Commitments, I have not seen The Full Monty. I don't care for The Commitments, but a charm to them anyways is seeing it with a group of people.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that happens anymore, or if people even want that. I'm not berating the change of cinema like we're losing something. Maybe people just don't want that. Maybe people are tired of seeing anything but spectacle together, which I can't say is a flaw. It's how the world's developed or evolved, but it makes me miss something like 1997, where I felt like, college, I was discovering film, art house films and big films. I was going all the time because I had the money and I could walk there.
Yeah.
So that experience and that shared experience, a theater of 10 people, a packed house, or other people watching, laughing, reacting, crying, whatever with you, I do miss that. But it's too easy to say, oh, it's the death of theater. It's like something else has come along. People want to experience things differently. And it's interesting to me because I am doing it. I do stream things. I see things because of streaming that I wouldn't have seen 10 years ago if this was my life 10 years ago. So again, I'm not berating it, but do you miss the experience of going to movie theaters?
Oh, yeah.
You do?
Yeah, for sure. And especially going like we did in Boston, where we could easily get to a small movie theater showing some imported feature. Just, opening up the Phoenix and seeing just all these little squares of movie posters of things that were nothing you'd ever heard of, but wow, that sounds interesting. That looks cool. And being able to go and find that somewhere. I don't even have a concept of where I can do that now.
Which you still can. I
know.
It's odd. Like, and I don't know. And I know you have kids, and maybe that plays into it.
That definitely does.
So maybe it's different answers. I don't know why. I don't know if it's the travel. I don't know if it's the money, but it's like spending 3 hours in front of the TV, one of which is finding something and then watching something for 2 hours, or spending the time traveling to a movie and seeing a movie. I mean, I can do it, but something has shifted. I'm not as free to just throw my money to things anymore. I will on a big movie, because I always know a big movie on the big screen, even if it's crap, at least it's on, it was exciting. Something about it will be exciting. I'm talking about you, Dark Phoenix. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm less likely to experiment on little films. I had a brief period about, 5 years ago now, where after work, I was working at this coffee shop. I'd get out every day around 3, and I would walk for about 40 minutes or whatever to Kendall Square, and I'd go to the art house, and I would just see what's playing at that time, because there was a lot of changeover. Movies would start around 4 or something. I would just get tickets to things I didn't know about, and I would sit there in the art house and I would watch them. And oftentimes I'd fall asleep because I was exhausted, but oftentimes I wouldn't. And it was great.
What did you discover there? I'm curious.
I saw Holy Motors. I saw that movie where Jane Fonda is growing pot. I saw a movie where Christopher Walken plays the cello and is going to retire. I don't know the names of these movies because I just went to happen to see them.
None of those sound familiar to me.
Happened to go and see them. But it was great.
Yeah.
It was a fucking great experience. And other people were in there also watching the movies. And I walked in off the street, the heat of the summer, exhausted, frustrated with work, cranky at the surrounding noise of Boston, unhappy with where I was living, whatever was going on. I walked in off the street into the air-conditioned theater, waited for it to get dark, saw a couple trailers, sat there for a movie, and had an experience in a space where it's like I couldn't really read a book. I could wander out, but I'd be gone. I couldn't, turn on my phone, although I didn't have a smartphone at that point yet. But whatever the reason was, it was this space. And I went to it for a similar reason that I was going to it in the summer of 97. I didn't know where else to go. And I needed to get away from figuring myself out. And the fucking movie, while it's touching on things, like it was a chance to not shut down because I'm engaging with the movie. But like if I was anxious about work, or I didn't want to go home, or I had to come up with money for cigarettes, had to because it was the law, or whatever it was that I had to do, if I could scrounge up enough change to have the 2 hours in the theater, I could shut everything but my bladder off. That's why I was wandering to theaters constantly when I got out of college in 97, because I didn't know what to do. I thought I liked my life. I thought I liked wandering around my books and my notebooks, for hours. But that was exhausting and lost and maybe a little sad. So having a movie theater where I'm actively watching something and tapping into the creative arts and sitting there meant something. And I've barely touched the list. There are a lot of more movies on this list that I saw, but I don't think we need to go through them all because who wants to talk about a smile like yours or Leave It to Beaver? But
Call the Conqueror.
That did come out. I didn't know that was a thing, by the way. I didn't know they had made that. But I don't know. 97, the entire year, and into 98, by the way, and for a good period after that, and before that, blah, blah, blah. But 97, the summer of 97 sticks out in my mind because what sounds like was a transition year for you. Am I right in calling it that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Should have been a transition for me, but it wasn't. It was the start of flailing in a very exciting way, in a way that I quickly learned how to do and enjoyed, but I was flailing about. And that's not bad, but it's difficult. And the one thing that gave me focus, the one thing that helped give shape to it, the one thing that allowed me to get a grip and be like, oh, this is what you're doing, was going to the fucking movie theater. Which is why I saw Conspiracy Theory, Spawn, Steel. Didn't see G.I. Jane, but I saw the poster a lot. That's why I did that, because I don't know. There was something very magical or whatever about the big screen that I don't want to say is missing. I think I still have that experience, but I'm more overwhelmed by the helplessness now. I'm more overwhelmed by the fear. It's more encroaching, so I don't make an effort to get out of it. Now I'm like, I have to go face work. I can't call in sick.
Right.
I have to go face the house I don't want to go to. I have to go face bills. Whatever it is I have to face because I'm 40, whatever I am as an adult, has replaced this drive, urge, and experience of I'm going to experience a film for 2 fucking hours in this abstract, dark space. And losing that is losing a little bit of myself. Like, I really miss the experience of going to movies all the time. And I can't make it happen. I don't have the time, money, or space to do that.
Yeah.
Because of other things. And I don't know if other people do. I don't know if people go to the movies a lot anymore. I'd be curious to know. Listener, singular.
Yeah, let us know.
But yeah, I fucking miss it. And again,
and how do you do it? If you do
it,
I want to know how they do it.
Right?
Yeah. I know a few people that do it, and I know.
But are they in the business?
And they're in the business.
Like, they write it
that's
off.
How they
I got to
do it.
review this. Yeah,
that's how
it's
they
like
do
that's fine. Well, however you get to it is how you get to it. But I really miss movies, and 97 was just part of an ongoing period where I saw movies, and yeah, I don't think I can get that back. I don't think I can get the movie going experience back I mean, here we are with summer. We're already through a bunch of summer blockbusters. I've seen Avengers Endgame twice and enjoyed it. I haven't gone to see anything else. And I don't just mean the big action movies as much as I want to see Dark Phoenix and there was something else, but I forgot what it was already. Oh, Godzilla. Like there are little movies and documentaries and things that would probably be fun to see.
Yeah.
And I don't. And that's how I feel out of touch. Because I don't know what's playing in the theaters. It's not music. It's not books. It's that I don't really know what's playing anymore. And I haven't seen them. And I haven't talked about them. And it's weird. It's weird.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
No, please do. I was going to say, is that the wrap up? And then you were going to say something, and I stepped right on it.
No. That's it's a good place to wrap up. But it's I don't recall if we talked about it during the major part of today's episode. But it's like you're saying, it's not music for you, and I think for me it is music because I was more into music during these years, the '97s, the '98s, the '99s, where I kind of felt like I was who I was supposed to be. Eventually was who I was supposed to be. And now those things aren't part of it. And for you, it was movies. And so I do relate to what you're talking about for sure.
Do you experience music differently now? Like when you used to buy CDs, you listened to them, on your Walkman, in your car, at home? Where did you listen to CDs when you would go out? Because you would go to the store and come back with like 5 or 6 CDs, right?
Yeah. I would basically, back when we were living together, would just be listening to it in my room, reading a magazine or something I picked up along the way as well, and just listen to the whole album through. And then, of course, making those mixtapes, and just kind of culling song by song and figuring out what sounds good together. And so, yeah, that's how I would listen to it. And then, just reading about it, and then as the internet became more accessible, finding out more about different bands and being a part of that, and just being able to do that because I had the time and the money. It's the same thing that you're saying about the movies. And then just life changes. Things become necessary, and you have to do other things.
And art is the thing that gets sacrificed.
Yeah, it does.
For those other things. And with that, part of ourselves. And that's not a knock to where I am, because I'm happy with the relationship I'm in.
Yeah.
And I'm happy with where we just moved. So that is important, and that's me getting older. And who knows? I don't know if I'd want to be 44 wandering around like I did then.
Right.
But there is a part of an identity, or there was a developing identity that I had that I don't have anymore.
Right.
And that's how things work. That's how evolution works. And that's not bad. It's just talking about something like this, about films, I miss it. And we do this as a podcast versus in-person conversation or whatever. So that's a changing too. But again, everything we talk about on the show is usually something that's now in the past. Well, it's always something that's in the past.
Right. But something that's in the past and also not in our present.
That's...
No, you know what I mean? Like
works.
we're not
yes,
talking about
true.
movies from 1997 because we're also seeing lots of movies in 2019.
Yes, that's true. And I wonder if that's every topic.
We should research that. Go back and double check.
Maybe for our big time, huge 100th anniversary episode. What? That's right, everyone. Now that we've ended this wonderfully upbeat return. Are we done?
So upbeat. Oh, yeah. I don't think
upbeat return to form. Thanks for coming back. Yeah, because Bob and I have rope and we're going to use it. Thank you for listening to this. This was our 99th episode, which means, while intended for May, finally in July, we're going to be hitting our 100th episode next week. 100th episode of what? 20th Century Pop.
Wow.
That's what a weekly or bi-weekly, I guess bi-weekly podcast Bob and I do that you can listen to. What was that?
Nothing.
We do nothing, but we do this, and you can hopefully enjoy it. I feel like we were getting back into the groove of doing this, and I think we're back on page. It came back pretty quickly, and if you like how it came back, Your lips are loose. And if you like loose lips, you can subscribe to Loose Lips. Where? I don't know. Check out 20popcast.com. That's the website, and you'll find links to old episodes there. The most recent episode is always up streaming there. You can also find links to subscribe to us. If you do like the podcast and you want to follow it, I would encourage you to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, on Stitcher, on Google Play, I believe, on however it is you get podcasts. We're probably there. So subscribe to us if you can. Support the show by listening to the show. I don't know. These endings are always amazing. This one, not so much. But yeah, we're back. That's what it sounds like to be back after being gone. You decide if you want us to be gone for another 2 months. Yes, that's right.
These endings always sound better in post, Tim, because you add the music underneath. So there's a little upbeat vibe getting us through the closing moments.
Now would be a great time to say the music. Oh, you mean by, I know it's in the show notes, our theme, which we got from the Free Music Archive by Komiku, Komiku, I believe, is the name of the performer who wrote our theme song. We've been using it for over a year. We've never given them any sort of attention. So people, here's what you can do. You want to support the show? Go to the show notes. Look for the link of the music, of the theme. God, I'm doing so poorly. I was going to say go download this person's. Let me fucking find it online. Bob, say something while I search the internet for where our theme song is from.
Sure. I can't remember if you said
that was
this.
demanding. I apologize.
No. You can follow me on Twitter if you want to reach out and let us know if you're still seeing movies in your 40s. RHK.
Or will, if you're not in your 40s, if you will.
Yeah, if you will. And if you're not in your 40s, why are you listening to this? I'm curious.
Hey, we just lost the other listener. Don't do that. We enjoy people in their 20s and their 30s. Super Poppy is the name of the theme. And Poppy's Great Adventures, the arcade game, is what you're hearing now, the closing theme. Both by Komiku, Komiku, from its 2018 album Poppy's Incredible Adventures, which is available at the freemusicarchives.org. It's cleared for public domain use through the Creative Commons Act, so we're not doing anything illegal, but I've been enjoying the theme. I feel like it's a big part of the show, and I've never given a shout out to this individual. So please follow the links in the show notes, download the song. If you want to toss $1 to the musician, do that as well, or a couple bucks. It's a good theme. It's catchy. There we go. We're done. Next week, 100th episode. And the last? No, just the 100th. Oh, that was exhausting.
For the last 30 seconds, yes.
Yes. Is this still the last 30 seconds? I don't know.
No, the previous 30 seconds, I guess.
So this is done. This will be in the show, but we're treating it as if the show is over.
This is your choice, whether you keep this in the show or not. Mm-hmm. I'm done. Whether or not you're done, I couldn't tell you.
Well, I guess I'm done. I'm not going to do this by myself. This isn't a Batman and Robin real-time audio commentary. This is a show about movies of 1997. Yeah, I guess this is a good length.